Welcome back, everybody, to Whisper of Winter, Chapter 2, Requiem of the Chained King. Uh, you can hear myself, you can hear me forcing myself not to laugh because I'm like slap happy at this point. So, um, as a bit of a recap from the previous session, as it's been a little while, so you guys traveled to Castle Whitestone. Um, Lucas looking for some information about this figure calling himself the Nobody, and information that Percy DeRollo had on the Heartless attack. Um,
Hey.
he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
Percival Frederickstein von Musel
And then after
Kowalski
you guys
DeRollo
got to
III.
Whitestone, you. So after you guys talked to Percy, him and Vexalia took you guys on a tour of Castle Whitestone, where you walked all around, seeing the various sculptures. And then after that, uh, what happened? Zelron talked to Fen and asked him kind of to back him up if he were to question Lucas on some things. The next day rolled around, the party got a long rest, was about to head out. Um, as they started departing, they were attacked by these Excalibur drones, which were inspired by Sable International from Spider-Man. But so you guys, having been attacked by these Excalibur drones, quickly beat them up. They were destroyed, and then got into a small argument that Alora broke up between Zelron and Lucas.
That was fun.
You call that small argument? We pretty much
a
got
pretty
large.
massive, a pretty
Yeah.
massive argument that almost resulted in the JoJo approaching me meme. And as Zelron went off, Fen kind of talked to him. Alora didn't really know what to say, and the party eventually regrouped and headed off to the first location that they thought a vestige of divergence might be, to arm them against this cult. And they headed to a teleportation circle, which would take them to Pyrrah, which is the home of the Fire Ashari, this tribe of elemental druids. So, that is where we are now. All right. So, if I could have everybody roll me a d6, please.
Oh shit.
Are the dice gonna be nice to me this time round? We shall see. Because last time I got shit on.
Oh, that's not bad.
Okay.
Alright.
1 second.
You said D6?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Alright. Not a bad start.
Okay, gotcha. Let's see here. All right. Okay, cool. So as you guys step into this, you guys see that you travel through this forested area and then arrive eventually at this teleportation circle. Red runes inscribed in the grass that Alora invites you all into. You step into, and she taps her staff twice in the ground, and magic flashes red before eventually you arrive in. Let's see here. You arrive in Pyrrah, which is, in fact, in, I believe, Isilra. So as you guys arrive, you see that... Let's actually change the music.
Jesus.
Let me see here. Oh, this will do. Okay. As you guys arrive, you see that you are in this volcanic sort of area. You are sort of at the base of this not currently active volcano that you see, yeah, the magic sins. You guys arrive at the base of this volcano, which you guys know to be the home of the Fire Ashari. What do you guys do as you arrive? What's kind of the first thing you guys do?
Sorry,
You're
I
good.
was on mute. Honestly, I'd say at this point, Lucas is still kind of a little shaken up after everything that went down back in Taldore. So not really much of a reaction is kind of getting out from him. Like he's looking around and whatnot, but yeah, no, he's still kind of feeling still kind of shaken up and shit.
Yeah, Zell, go for it.
I was gonna say I
You're
had
muted.
It's all good.
Take a shot every time Angel forgets he's muted. And now you're having mic trouble.
Can't hear you. This is so sad.
Well,
There you are.
there we go. I actually wasn't muted for that second time. I was pretending.
Oh.
Oh,
But no. I was gonna say, would you, DM, would you mind setting that scene there again? Because I couldn't hear it.
Sure. You guys arrive at the base of a volcano, which is not currently active. You arrive there. You know it's the home of the Fire Shari, and this is one of the places that's one of these magical artifacts that can make you stronger. This is the home of one of them potentially. So, what's kind of the first thing you guys get up to?
Well, firstly, Zelron, he's gonna go up and says, "Ooh wee, man, we are quite far away, but this feels like home. I can feel it already." And then he's just gonna kind of walk in.
Oh yeah.
Adelaide's sort of looking looking at the volcano, almost in amazement, and then proceeds to follow Zelrun.
I'd say Lucas is probably sticking closer to Alora than to the rest of the group.
Hell yeah. Lucas, go ahead and roll me a perception check if you don't mind.
Ah, god damn it.
No, my dice fell.
There we go. Shit, 5.
I had to take a picture of this.
Oh god damn. No.
You see that as you guys are walking up this volcano, Lucas, behind one of the kind of like sides of one of the kind of like the side of the mountain base itself, you see a black cloak that sort of quickly hides behind the side. You don't see the face. You just see a black cloak hide itself. And you get this strange feeling that you're being watched. You guys walk up a little bit further, eventually arriving to this it's kind of like cavernous entrance of the volcano itself, where you see this tall elven man with tan skin and sort of this brown, like long hair. He's wearing kind of like this tribal attire, and he's got a spear in his hand. And you see this is Headmaster Serkanos, who is the headmaster of the Fire Shari. And he arrives and he looks at you all and says, "Oh, hello there. We were not expecting visitors. What may I help you all with?"
Hello.
Yep.
No,
you go
ahead.
ahead. Lucas is just kind of, well, first off, after seeing the possible cloak, Lucas is going to be even more skittish now. Looks to Serkonos and just kind of goes, yeah, it's, this is a little bit complicated, but, this might seem a little weird, but is there anywhere we could maybe talk in a more private area? This is kind of important.
Oh, absolutely. You see that he behind him is kind of like a battalion of elven druids that you see. He turns around and says, "At ease, please." And they turn around, hearing that their leader is safe, and head out. You see, he takes you down this path, and all the while is casting this kind of like abjurative ward that keeps like the fire away. So you are actively like close to the fire, but it's not that hot, and you're not being burned, thankfully, as you guys are inside a volcano. You walk down, and there's this entire like massive village inside this volcano with huts and different shops and different things like that. He takes you inside one of the huts and casts a spell on the door and the window and says, "Right, well, this should keep out any intruders or any people who wish to spy on our conversation. Now, how may I be of aid?"
He looks and he says, "I have a question. If you wouldn't mind obliging me with this."
Of course.
Um, he kind of looks around for a quick second, and then he realizes, and then he kind of looks over, kind of kind of concerningly at Lucas. It's just like not like concerned, like like what he might do, but like more like of just like he kind of reminded, and he says, "Never mind."
Oh, all right. If you
Sorry.
change your mind, feel free. No, that's quite all right. Well, in any case, welcome to the home of the Fire Shari. I recognize it may be a little unfamiliar to be walking into a volcano. It usually is for most people. But is there anything specifically you would need?
Yeah. I don't know if you've maybe. I doubt you've probably heard of any of us, but you might have heard of some of our parents. But my name is Lucas Tenjiro, son of Jason. He was a hero in Wildmount some 20 years ago, and him and this guy's mom points over to Zelrin, points over to Fen, and this guy's dad were all a part of an adventuring party that went up against oh god, what was that demon's name again? I keep forgetting.
Asmodeus?
Yeah. They went up against Asmodeus about 20 years ago and banished him, killed him. I don't understand the exact details 100%, but
You see, he nods and says, "I'm familiar. Yes, like you said, I'm not familiar myself with all the fine details, but yes, I remember this story. They banished him beyond the Divine Gate, essentially a place where even a god could not have any sort of physical influence on the material plane, here where we are. So then, forgive me if I'm in the incorrect assumption, but I would assume then that you are sort of on a similar endeavor?
So
that's kind of putting it mildly. Basically, what happened back then was only the first part of something possibly bigger. And now, by some form of coincidence, fate. I don't freaking know. They'll probably say fate. I'm just gonna call it coincidence, but apparently we are prophesized to help put an end to what started 20 years ago and prevent the return of Pyrrah's doom.
He nods and says, well, thank the gods that someone is doing something about this. I had been aware of this, and other people had been aware that trouble had been brewing surrounding the chained god before, but no one knew sort of what to do because, well, no one knows where he is. In any case, one of my elves told me that certain heroes would be running along looking for these, looking for ways to arm themselves against even the gods, and think I may have something of the sort. If you would, I believe I have it in one of the rooms. I will be right back shortly, if you don't mind waiting, of course.
Take as much time as you need.
Right. You see he walks out of the room. I need a wisdom save from Zelron and Mona.
Oh.
Alrighty.
Oh dear.
Zelron, you feel this sort of psychic influence from maybe like outside the building, or maybe out. You don't feel maybe where the source of it is, but you just get this strange feeling in the back of your head that you're being watched. At the same time, Adelaide,
Uh-huh.
you see that the world around you goes blurry, and you kind of lose balance as you seem to be moving in bullet time, moving in slow motion, as you hear 3 or 4 different voices that say the same phrase. It says, "Hey, no," over and over and layered, and you hear one voice above the rest that is calm and stern. You hear it says, "Your mother knows of your whereabouts. I want you to make this choice. Do you want her dead?"
No. She's just kind of like trying to look around in this odd sort of time space.
You hear the voice says, "And of your father, do you wish him dead?"
No. Who are you?
The world regains its balance. It's no longer blurry, and you are back in this sort of hut. Zell, Lucas, I think both of you sort of noticed maybe Mona's eyes go a little bit milky white, but I don't think there was any sort of physical reaction.
Well, as soon as Zelrun felt that sort of weird presence, he went out. Well, not like went out. He poked his head out to investigate, so he wouldn't be able to see Mona's eyes. But he is like looking around, trying to figure out what that was.
Okay.
Yeah. Lucas is gonna turn to Zelrin, and it's just gonna be like, "You doing okay?"
Yeah, I think I felt something.
What?
Is So he quickly closes the curtains on the hut and he says, "This is gonna sound a little crazy, but it feels like someone feels like someone's keeping an eye on us.
Lucas is gonna kind of go a little wide-eyed and it's like, you noticed that too?
Yeah, not too long ago. Like, I would say just moments before I went out. And it,
I
he, oh,
no. Go ahead.
but as he kind of finishes that sentence, he turns over and he sees Mona's face and he's like, jeez! Oh. What's with her? Hello? Hello?
I'm just swat his hand away. As I'm recovering.
Wait, okay, so, you just, like, you doing alright there? You didn't... Did your eyes usually do that, or...
Is there somebody here?
Well, not physically, apparently.
Maybe.
Are you sure?
We might be watched. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this in a more private area, but honestly, if I start explaining who might be watching us, I'm going to be end up having a very long conversation with you two. And I know I said I would answer questions once we got here to Pyrrah, but maybe after we finish talking to this Shari guy, I promise I will answer questions.
Like I said before, take as much time as you need to do that. We still, while we're here, talking to this fine gentleman here, we still need to gain insight and get this vestige.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure we can figure it out after this.
Cool. You see that Sir Kenos comes back into the room after a bit. You see he walks over to this like little desk area, and he sets down what looks to be like a very fine blade. It looks to be in its sheath. It's very fine wrapping. The coloration is kind of this like deep, like cerulean and indigo. And he sets it down on the desk, and you see that he says, "Right. Well, my daughter, long ago, she." It's still a little bit hard for me to talk about, but long ago, 15, 20 years, my daughter, she went missing. This is the blade that she used to use. The context, she was to go on her Aramente, an odyssey to prove herself as, you know, the proper ruler of the Fire Shard once I would pass away. She was sent out with this sword 20 years ago, and 1 week ago we found her sword. And what's worse, he takes the sheath off, and you see the sword itself is just missing the blade. It's just the handle. He says, this was all we ever recovered. In any case, she traveled into this rift that the Fire Shard are dedicated to protecting. And that was the last we ever heard of her.
Well, you have our condolences.
Thank you. I know, honestly, my daughter, she would kill me if she knew I was giving this to someone else, but I do believe it to be a vestige. At least part of one.
Wait.
And you see...
Are you sure you should be giving? You sure you want to just give it away just like that?
I care deeply about my daughter, more than some blade. And honestly, she'll manage. She's not... Well, wherever she is, I'm sure she'll be okay. And I'm not entirely sure that reforging the handle and the blade is 100% going to work. But I feel that this endeavor to stop this mad, chained god is more important than my daughter having a weapon. So I feel comfortable giving it to all of you, if you choose to take it.
If I may ask, what makes you think that this sword is one of these vestiges?
I myself was never in the specific arcane field as your friend Alora is, but I was more of a nature magic oriented person. When we found this sword a long time ago, it had this sort of faint glow, as if a spirit was inside of it or something, and it seemed to beat glow in rhythms as if it were trying to communicate. We weren't sure. We took it to a noble in Taldore, and they were able to identify it as its proper title is the Dragon Blade.
Sauron is gonna kind of look at the hilt and the kind of craftsmanship. He says, would you mind if I have a closer look?
Feel free.
And he's gonna step up and he's gonna he's gonna bring his hand out to grab the hilt, and he's gonna kind of bring it up to his, he's not gonna like bring it to his face like this. He's just gonna kind of ogle at how the handle is made, the metals and the leathers and the different materials that he's sort of looking. And he says, well, despite the blade not being here, I will say the craftsmanship is quite exquisite.
Agreed. Whoever made it was a master.
And he's gonna look over to Lucas and he's gonna hand it to you. And he's gonna hand it to Lucas. Here, you can... I'm pretty sure you might want to hold on to this one.
You sure?
For safekeeping, you know. I know that bag can be quite deep.
Oh, shit, yeah, sorry, forgot about that for a sec. Lucas is going to, kind of somewhat cautiously, not kind of cautiously towards Zelrin, but just, that kind of skittish cautiousness, is gonna slowly kind of reach out for the handle.
Go ahead and roll me a charisma saving throw.
Oh no!
I knew it.
Okay, this is gonna suck. All right, this is gonna suck because I got zip for charisma. Okay, that's actually not too bad. 12.
Well, not bad. So, on a 12...
Oh no.
Here.
On a 12...
1 second, sorry. Get back.
No worries. You reach out to the handle of the blade, and as you do, your hand clenches around the kind of cerulean indigo portions of this handle. You see that the handle itself glows. Glows white in kind of this rhythm. Roll me an insight check if you don't mind.
Okay, wait. What's my insight? Okay, thank God. That's 18.
On an 18, there is a spirit inside this handle, and it doesn't vocally speak, but the rhythm of this glowing is saying hello.
Lucas, sort of in an sort of kind of shocked, looks at the handle, and as he's realizing that it's like trying to communicate with him, he just kind of, in kind of a surprised shock, and of all things in draconian, or we'll just say draconian, because I think that draconian, same fucking thing, is just gonna be like, that's not possible.
You see that the handle glows again, and you read the uh, glowing rhythm as it says, anything is possible. I have lost my other half and am incomplete. My name is... I forget.
Lucas kind of looks to the handle again, and again in draconic, and is like, you forgot your name. I don't know what name to choose for myself.
You hear one last time the sword glows, and it says, choose one that makes you feel at peace. And the sword stops glowing.
We all see this glow.
Yes.
All right. He says, "Huh. Seems like the sword's taking quite the liking."
Yeah. This is so weird.
Well, if I had,
Oh, sorry.
One of you go first, please.
Zelran says, "Well, if I had to make a guess, a very obvious one, I would say that one must be yours. Well, when we find the blade, that is."
Yeah. But seems like it's more than just a blade. This guy was right. This is alive, and it can't quite remember its name, or maybe it can't quite remember who it is.
Well, maybe when it is completed, it'll reveal its full self to you. If it is as alive as you like, if you mean it literally alive.
Lucas is going to look back to Sarkonos and go, you said that the noble identified this as being called the Dragon Blade, right?
Yes.
You see Lucas just kind of scoffs and kind of gives a light chuckle, also giving like a little bit of a smile. And it's like, ain't that an ironic kick in the ass?
He nods and says, well, um, careful with that blade. And remember, what I know from a long time ago when it was identified, when it was complete, it would give its user guidance. But it would also, and you suddenly hear the door to the hut. Here, change music real quick. So the door to the hut, there's a quick bang from the outside as someone knocks on the door. Serkanos walks over. You see that one of the elves from the Ashari looks at him and goes, "Headmaster, something's terribly wrong." Each you roll me a perception check.
Each? Oh shit.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Where's my there? Oh, shit.
Dang.
Nice. You guys peer out the door. Serkanos says, Serkanos walks out and says, "What happened?" You guys peer out the door, and you just see bodies of elves are laid on the ground of this volcano. As you see, this elf says, "I don't know. A man came here to the entrance, and he said he was looking for any one of the 5 he could get his hands on for the something about a bounty. I don't know, but we insisted we didn't know anything, and he laid waste to about 30 or 40 of our druids."
Was he wearing a black cloak?
He looks to you and says, "Yes. His hood was up, though. We couldn't see his face. He was using... God, such a strange weapon. I've never seen anything like it. But he wasn't alone."
Describe the weapon.
Shaped... I don't even know where to start. It had an eye, that's for sure. But it looked... Why would someone... It's completely impractical. It's a giant... For all intents and purposes, it's a giant key.
You see Lucas's eyes get wide in shock, and he was like, "Wait, what?"
A key? I mean, yeah, practical for sure, but I mean, I guess anything can be made into a weapon.
It's true. I mean, if you know what you're doing with it, but it's just... It just seemed... It was black and white, and it had an eye on the handle, and it seemed sentient. The man wasn't alone. He came with another man that... he had a gun in his holster. But he didn't walk into the volcano. Only the black-cloaked man did.
Did it look like a gun or more like a crossbow?
No, it was definitely a gun. We haven't, worked with them closely, but definitely a gun, I think.
Well,
Something's wrong here.
did you happen to see
Um,
the face, or at least his appearance, the person who wasn't in the black cloak, the one with the gun?
yes. He was a little far back, but he had brown hair, a long brown cloak, and sort of a strap over it. I think he had a bag or something. She's describing, because I can't remember what I described him as before, but Vincent Ripley.
Oh God, fucking Ripley's Aquarium. I think.
Again, Lucas is kind of slowly in his own mindset, and he's thinking for a second. He's like, no, this is wrong. He shouldn't have that.
He says, then how? I mean, he was doing great harm. Time almost seemed to stop all around us. We were pulled in by some force of gravity. We stood no chance physically.
Well, here, hang on. While we're here, and since this just happened, did you see where they went?
The black cloaked man, he seemed to teleport away. The other one, he was headed. He just started walking away from the volcano. He headed north.
He looks back to the rest of the party.
Lucas, you can see Lucas is definitely getting more agitated now by the sounds of this. Just kind of looks back to Zelrun and is like, what?
Should we go after him?
Honestly, Ripley's not the fucker I want to go after right now, but I can't. I guess I can't reach him quite yet, so I guess... Yeah, no, I guess we go after him. I got nothing else to do as of now.
Before we go, quick question to DM. I can't remember exactly. Did you ever say that the Kronos? What's his name again? Sarkonos.
Sarkonos.
Okay. Did he ever say like where the blade might be to the sword, or did he not ever say that? Okay.
He did not.
So he's going to quickly go, and he says, "All right. Before we leave, do you happen to know where the blade of the sword might be?"
It's this elf looks at you and says, it was such a long time ago, but I think, and you see, goes through some sort of like memory, and says, Taldore, the highest point in Taldore, battling something. When you get there, the blade itself, the hilt should glow. It seems to react when other vestiges are close.
And because Zelron doesn't have any sense of direction, and that would be in what direction exactly?
Look, we can worry about the blade and Taldori later. Right now, we gotta go after Ripley.
Yeah, fair. And then he says to Sarkonos that I still feel like he says to elf person, well, thank you. Sorry to leave you all like this, but we're going after the men or the person who did this to you.
Right. Please be very, very careful, and thank you.
No problem. Thank you for everything.
Right. Be safe.
He does a little bow, and he's gonna immediately just like run. He's just, all right, let's head out.
Yeah, Lucas is starting to book it.
Hell yeah. So you guys start completely running after. You start running after Vincent Ripley. Everybody, roll me a dexterity check.
Oh,
Yippee.
boy.
wow. Shit.
Okay, I don't know why I didn't do that. Come on. Yeah.
Oh, not bad. You see that. Switch music here. So as you hop out of the entrance to the volcano, you start running through this field, and almost as soon as you guys do, Zelrond, you immediately get eyes on the back of his head. He turns around, just gets a huge grin on his face, and you hear him say, he's like maybe 30, 45 feet away. He puts his arms out like this and goes, "Catch me if you can," and just starts walking backwards.
And he's just gonna kind of take that as like a challenge, and he's gonna just be like, "Oh, don't you worry about me." And he's gonna just like do a Now, is this an appropriate time to use Step of the Wind to dash?
Sure, absolutely. I will say you will still have to roll in a contest, but because of that, you will have advantage.
All right. So, all right.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we're using it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you you burst forward in this very like anime way, and you rush the wind almost like kind of whipping past. You see that Alora taps her staff, and Mona, Lucas, you guys are surrounded by this lightning energy, as your speed is also double.
Oh, hell yeah. I am running as fast as I can,
My
trying to catch up with Zelrin because I want to get after this son of a bitch first.
name's
Oh.
Barry Allen.
While running,
Good.
while running, Adelaide is going to cast Suggestion. And say, it might be a good idea for you to stop and answer our questions.
Oh shit. Okay. What kind of save is that?
That is a wisdom saving throw.
Wait, what spell is that?
Okay. What?
Suggestion.
Suggestion?
Okay. So what's your DC?
14.
14. Okay. And you said it's
Oh.
wisdom or charisma?
It's wisdom.
Wisdom. Okay. So here's the deal.
Uh-huh.
He has a +3 to wisdom.
Oh, dear. Okay.
So if he rolls an 11 or higher on this dice, he succeeds. If he rolls
Yeah.
a 10 or lower, we'll see what happens. All right,
Come on.
here it is.
Come on. Suck hard. Come on.
Come on.
Well, that
Oh,
was no shot.
God damn it.
I'm
Alright.
sorry. You see that he looks back and says, "As if," and you see he continues running. Zelron, Lucas, you guys are sort of front of the pack. Alora and Mona are kind of closely behind. He continues running. You see that. So I'm going to say that all of you have like combat actions. If you want to like try anything gameplay wise, go for it.
We get combat. Okay.
Yeah, hell
Okay.
yeah.
And this is all like free action stuff, or
So I'm going to say you spend all of your movement trying to chase after him, but yes, you have an action and a bonus action to do
all
that.
right.
Oh, shit.
Fuck. Alright, so everything of mine actually got reset after leveling up, but I think because I burnt my hybrid transformation getting pissed off at Zelrun. And it's still pretty much the same day since then, so that's probably still burnt, right?
You know what? Because it's too much trouble to think about, like, not long rest. You know what? I'm gonna allow it.
Okay. So, in a race to try and get after this motherfucker, Lucas is going to in his anger and somewhat rage, he is going to go Beowulf.
Okay.
So as he's running, you see he just starts transforming. His eyes start glowing the bright red, which almost seems to be a little bit brighter the more angrier he gets. And actually, wait, let's do it this way. So then I get all the fun shit. And I am going to try and get a predatory strike on this guy.
Okay, hell yeah. I will let you know if you're interested. If you want to make this more... I'll let you know the AC you're trying to hit, if you want.
Okay.
Okay. You are trying to hit an AC of 18.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh, no!
Why the fuck has he got that high of an AC for a wizard?
I gave him magic items.
Quick question.
Oh, you bastard.
Quick question. This will actually...
Yes.
If this works, this will aid Lucas in his attack. This is to kind of, like, slow him down.
Right.
Is it possible? Can I cast darkness in the area that he is in to just kind of, like, slow him down a bit, or in best case scenario, stop him entirely and make him lose his footing?
Sure. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to roll another d20. So here's what I'm gonna say. On a 10 or lower, he is completely lost in this darkness and stops. On a 15 or lower, he slows down in the darkness.
Okay, all right.
16. All right. 16 or higher, he's completely fine. But yeah, here we go. All right. Okay.
Oh, yes.
So what does it look like as Zelrond reaches out and casts his
So you can see that he brings out both of his hands, and his eyes just pretty much, usually his eyes have the yellow in them where you can see the iris, but his eyes go full black, and then like this darkness cloud just sorts of just shoots out, and it starts to enwrap him up sort of, and he just gets covered in it, in this sort of dome of darkness.
Oh yeah. You see he looks around completely confused at this. He runs into kind of like the center of this dark cloud and is completely encased. Yeah, Lucas, if you want to try to make that hit, I'm going to give you advantage on this now.
Okay, I will take that, because if he's got an AC of 18, I gotta roll a 13 or higher to beat this bastard. and I've got a +6 to it.
Oh my god!
Can I give you Bardic Inspiration?
You can if you want to.
Let's go.
I'll take a Bardic Inspiration. What dice is that?
It's a D6.
Oh shit, yeah, I'll definitely take that. So I got advantage, I'm inspired. Let's...
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, fuck. But I got the D6, which... 17. Fuck.
So close.
Not enough.
Damn. You see that as you reach out with this predatory strike, do you think Lucas is trying to bite or is trying to like scratch?
I'd say this is going to be more towards a scratch.
You reach out and you expect to find something, but you just grab onto nothing. As you see that Laura is going to try reaching into the darkness and casting a hold spell. So we're going to roll for a saving throw, which he succeeds on.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
you see that Alora points her staff at the center of the cloud. Zelron, you kind of like direct her magic to where you think he is, and she points her staff. The spell leaves the tip of her staff and does seem to hit, but you hear, you see this kind of like abjurative ward surround this silhouette as the smoke begins to clear. You do see the sort of darkened silhouettes of now two figures, as one kind of holds up their hands like this, casting this protective spell, as you hear. Let's switch music once again.
But the one of the main things I had in mind when I did that is picture this is like a game cutscene, like you just see Zelron casting it, and then he's like looking around in this darkness, and just out of the darkness you just see these glowing red eyes, and then he just emerges, lunging.
Hell yeah. So you see the abjurative ward is presented in front of Vincent, who is definitely like like gasping for air, and it's clear that like if he died here, you guys, I'm just gonna say on your passive insight, he fully had no backup plan. His plan was to just get away. His plan was to just get away, and if that didn't happen, he was screwed. Until you hear a voice from within the dark cloud itself, as you see it's dispelled, and you see the voice says, "All right, enough." The cloud coalesces. This is not what we had in mind. Lucas, you see Luciu. The rest of you see a man in a black cloak, purple stripe through his hair, eye patch covering a scar. He says, now, let's not, let's not immediately try to be aggressive. That's not what we do when we meet new people, is it? Come on.
Lucas just
Yeah, well,
growls.
people that you just meet, you don't just go and kill either way, so who's more in the wrong here?
You see, he says, oh, no. Ultimately, they're just standing in the way. I mean, sometimes we have goals and there are obstructions to those goals.
Right.
Some dominoes gotta fall.
So that means that it's justified that my goal is to sit here and to kick your ass.
As if. Nah. I like the way you think, though. We might be, if not on the same page, in the same book.
Who are you and what do you want?
In any case. You were trying to harm my compatriot here. You see Vincent, and is just like fully panicking and sweating and breathing. You see he says, well, long story short, I made a promise that I would protect my friend, and, well, as it turns out, you stood as obstructions to that goal. Just making sure my friend is safe.
And he's gonna...
You,
Go ahead.
You see Lucas kind of shift out from Beowulf, look over, just gonna be like, the hell you doing here, Zigbar?
Oh, so you haven't told them. He says, oh man, we're almost out of time, little wolf. 6 hours remaining. I want my answer.
But you never gave me a fucking deadline.
Well, as it turns out, my superiors are getting antsy. So, 6 hours.
Is that why you put us on Wildmount's Most Wanted?
As if. There were other reasons to that, too. But they'd kill me if they found out I was leaking information. So I won't.
How long have you been toying with the people in this universe?
Ah, long time, long time. At first, it started as experiments to see if it was possible to get here. And then when I learned that it was, I was able to do whatever I want. You know, back home, the people on the different worlds never could harm me. This was the first place with people that could.
That can't be right. You shouldn't have even been able to get here.
Ah, I have my ways. Well, why don't we move on with this, right? 6 hours, and I want my answer. And as for the rest of you, why don't you stop trying to harm my compatriot here?
You know, I would just love to not do that. And he kind of looks to to fucking, I'm blanking on the name. God damn it. No,
Lucas?
no, Ripley,
Or
Ripley. He's gonna look to Ripley and he's gonna be like, I saw the look in your eye. You are afraid.
See, Ripley says, okay, so what? You caught me off guard, and
Well, just so you know, big boy up there isn't gonna be always around. And when he isn't, you'll find us right there. So go on. While you still can.
see, Vincent says, when I do die, I'm bringing all of your souls with me. And he runs off.
And he's gonna scream out, if you do die, I shall see you in the throne room. Because I'll be there.
You see, he just completely, runs off. And you see Lushu says, come on. Was that really necessary? I get he's kind of like a wuss, but he's trying, you know?
Screw you, Zigbar.
Oh. Little wolf has got some claws, huh? Well, you know my terms. 6 hours. Yes or no. You know what happens in either case. You take care, little wolf. Turns around, and a dark corridor appears, and he walks towards him.
Bastard.
It seems things just keep getting curiouser and curiouser. That Ripley character, he's... Something's more. There's something more here with... Why would he... he clearly looks like he was not from here. Why would he want to enlist someone from here? When he's just like everybody else.
I don't fucking know.
How has he
Not
managed to
even
put targets on all of your backs?
Ripley? Or
I mean, whichever one did it.
wasn't Ripley? Sure. He might have some control with Excalibur, but no. No. He doesn't have this little amount. Well, either way, I guess there's really no time like the present. Lucas is going to, first off, take out his weapon, stick it in the ground.
He's gonna.
Either way, you're gonna find out sooner than later, either from me or from him in, I guess, the next 6 hours.
And he's gonna kind of sit down on the ground on the very hard. Is it grass, concrete? Is it grass, asphalt, or is it like sand?
You're far away enough from the volcano now.
Okay, so
It's
he's
grass.
gonna kind of just plop himself on the grass, and he's gonna kind of sit in this like knees up, hands down. He's gonna be like, "Well, I've got time. I could use a little bit of a break."
All right. I'll let each of y'all take turns asking questions, because either way, this is going to be a bit of a long story. Zell, you can go first. You've pretty much been the one itching for answers.
Well, the first question before all this happened wasn't gonna be this one, but I feel like that this one might be the most important. Who is the Zigbar character?
Well, as Mona pointed out, he's not from Exandria, nor any of the planes connected to it. Like me, he's from another universe. Not the same one as me, so I guess it would make it another universe. There really isn't any specific name for it. My dad and my sister and all the other travelers at Haven Arc just pretty much just call it Kingdom Hearts. Roll credits.
And he says,
Kidding.
"Huh, sounds odd and flashy and floaty."
Yeah. This is... That's the simple answer, for one, but to get into more specifics, Zigbar is a part of a group that isn't known for being the good guys of that universe. At least that's what I can really remember for the most part.
Well, he looks the part, what with that black cloak and all. I mean, when have you ever seen one of the good guys ever wear one of those?
The history within this, that specific universe gets severely complicated, even probably by your standards, but to truly explain what kind of group Zigbar is a part of, I need to mention quite a few things. So, at this point, you can kind of assume that there is a vast multiverse within the astral dimension, astral sea, whatever you guys want to call it. I and some others have the ability to travel and cross this astral dimension into these other universes. And one of the few things that I remember my dad teaching me when it came to traveling to other places is that each universe has their own laws of magic that don't necessarily run parallel to another. That being said, part of the magic and laws of nature within Kingdom Hearts is very confusing. And this kind of also gets into part of what I was talking to the Derolo guy about. In this universe, there is, at the very least, one major law of nature. And that is that everyone has darkness inside of their hearts. No matter how good of a person they may seem or how balanced, everyone has, at the very least, a small sliver of darkness that could lead into who knows what. And when a person is sort of separated from their heart, the darkness manifests into a category of creatures known as, actually this is kind of the somewhat ironic part, as heartless. And unfortunately for Exandria, I guess part of that rule somehow managed to get transferred here, as 20 years ago in Taldore, there were reports of an attack by Whitestone, where the monsters were described as dark shadow-like creatures that were 2 feet tall with yellow beady eyes and antenna-like horns. These are one of the types of Heartless in Kingdom Hearts. This is the part that kind of gets important. When a Heartless is formed, the body of the person whose heart it was becomes a shell of who they once were, to the point of having no identity, no purpose, and in often cases, no real memory of what they once were. And in that instance, the bodies in these shells take a life, or lack of a life, of their own, known as nobodies.
That must mean that nobody creature that you all were talking about earlier, is that what that's supposed to be?
Yeah. In one, or I guess 2 cases, a nobody could be given a new name, which in turn gives them a new purpose. I kind of remember something in Kingdom Hearts about, like I said, a group, in particular a group of nobodies that were all given new identities, new purposes, and unfortunately those purposes weren't necessarily on the aspect of kindness or good. But this group was known as Organization 13. If I remember correctly, Zigbar was a part of this organization.
Oopsie.
Now, somehow, around 20 years ago, he's managed to find a way from his universe here, which I don't understand is possible.
And you,
That's sort of a lot to take in.
Yeah.
hmm.
One of the reasons why I tried to keep it away from you. Like I said, part of this stuff I explained to Lord DeRollo as he was the one that encountered the Heartless that attacked Haldori 20 years ago. I didn't tell him about Zigbar or in particular Zigbar's role as the nobody here in Exandria, but still, there's a lot for even him to take in.
If I might, this Zigbar, he seemed to talk to you as if you were familiar with him. How far do you two go back?
That gets a little more complicated because as far as I can remember offhand, our first direct this kind of gets complicated because like I just mentioned to Laura, this sort of interaction between me and him are in connection with events that have happened in my past, more recent past, and is one of the reasons why I came to Exandria for asylum, because a little over a year ago, maybe 2, I honestly don't remember 100%, I traveled to this universe on my own. Now, at the time, Organization 13 should have fallen, and as far as I knew, either Zigbar was defeated or disappeared. I don't know the exact details, but when I was there, I went to a place known as Twilight Town. I was just kind of exploring, and I was on my own, which broke one of my dad's personal rules to never travel on your own and always have someone with you, but that's neither here nor there. But anyway, when I was there, I confronted a sorcerer who somehow managed to defeat me, and in doing so, you see Lucas just kind of his breath kind of shudders and whatnot. As you can tell, he doesn't really want to talk about this, but at this point there's no turning back. Takes a deep breath and goes, he separated my heart and body to create a manifestation of a heartless and a nobody. And in doing so, he kind of pulls the side of his cloak to expose his neck, to which this is going to kind of go in meta, but you can see the a scarred mark on his neck, which is the shape of the nobody heart, but in the center of the heart part is the calligraphied Zemnis X.
So Zelron is gonna kind of just like look at all this, and he's gonna kind of just bring his head down a little bit, like just bring his head down in like shame. he's just gonna stay silent.
My heart, like any other heart that follows the rules in that universe, manifested into a heartless, which took the form of a monster that's a whole other story, but for the sake of this, the creature that you saw me transformed into, it's called the Beowulf. It's part of my original curse. That's a whole other story, but my heartless manifested into the Beowulf, which basically became a creature of shadow and primordial rage. And my body became a nobody that was then given new purpose, new identity. Originally, no memories of who I once was.
Zell is still like looking down, kind of like still kind of in shock, but more like ashamed of himself because he's still thinking about how he acted. And he says to Lucas, "And you said this happened how long ago?"
For me, a little over a year ago.
And he puts his hand on his forehead. He's just like, oh. in all my selfish desires to know the truth, I didn't think of all the stuff that happened to you on a personal level. Gosh, I feel even like an even greater ass.
I know. And for most of that year, I was pretty much stuck that way. Following this sorcerer's orders, somehow being able to have some control as nobody over my own heartless, which I'm not even 100% sure has even been heard of, but I did things that I am not proud of. But at one point, there was a band of heroes, I guess, that were starting to thwart this sorcerer's plans. I ran into him once, and within that party, I saw someone that started to, I guess, trigger my old memories as Lucas. You see, he turns to Crystalina and goes, I don't understand how she got there or what she was doing with them, but he knew that I had some connection. And part of me knew that she needed to get out of this. I tried to set subliminal warnings without, I guess, even realizing to myself that I was trying to make sure that she was safe. But, of course, in her own ignorance and wanting to help out friends, Kristalina never took my warnings for granted and continued to do what she did best. Eventually, I got enough memories back to partly, I don't know, and you see he just kind of pinches as if you can see trying to remember really hard, but for some reason it's not coming to him. He goes, one of the last things I remember is Kristalina and her friends helping me break out of the sorcerer's sort of control lock. Starts rubbing his neck. Then we fought some guy in an interdimensional plane of time. And the next thing you know, I was back in Twilight Town. Myself. I was whole. And I occasionally remembered most of the... See, this part I don't even understand because I guess for the most part, when a Heartless and a Nobody are defeated and released, there's always a good chance of them reuniting back as one and returning the person back to the way he was. And in a lot of the cases that I saw, most of them got their memories back as nobodies. But for me, it didn't come back all the way. I got flashes of some of it and most of the parts of the last of when Kristalina and her friends started messing around, but there were also interdimensional time rifts that were popping up all across this universe, so I guess that played in part. So I could never remember 100% of what I did as a nobody. But from what I can remember is that during that time, I never directly met Zigbar. I've heard of him through some of the other allies, some of the others working with the sorcerer, but I never met him directly, as far as I can remember. Not until Night of Ascension, here in Exandria. No, go ahead.
No, I didn't have anything. I thought I had something to say, but I'm just as bewildered as he is. So,
Roz, does Mona have anything to say on this?
I'm a little flabbergasted here. I mean, not to push more information out of you, but the answer that Zigbar wanted?
Plays into part of what I had originally told you when we first met. Like I said, Zigbar met me during the Night of Ascension before we all met. He turns to Allure and was like, you had just headed downstairs to talk to Kima. He appeared in my room at your tower. And he said that he wanted Crystalina for something. Never told me what. But he did say that if he didn't get her, then he would tell all of Exandria of what I'd done.
Well, it seems like we've only got one option here. And that is,
Seems like it.
well, seems like we gotta get to him before that timer does run out. I don't know Crystalina too much, only from the stories that my mom used to tell, but from what I've heard and from the actions that I've seen so far between you two, she's a friend. So I'm not gonna turn someone over just because they ask. So if we can find a way to track down Zigbar's location, then I'd say we bring the fight to him before he could ever get a chance to do anything. Catch him off guard.
There's something else that's been bugging me. The way that guy in the fire shari was describing him, the weapon, the giant key. In this universe, or in the Kingdom Hearts, roll credits, there is one definitive way to defeating Heartless to the point of being able to release their hearts to the point of being able to restore the person, and I think the same applies to sometimes nobodies, is with a weapon, not so ironically, called a keyblade.
Seems impractical.
The only problem is Zigbar shouldn't have one.
Well, how do you think he got one? I mean, are there a lot of keyblades out there?
Yes and no. There's... Okay, so out of character, would Lucas 100% know the history of key bearers, the Keyblade War, or any of that shtick, or would he just kind of know the the beginning King Sora arc crash course kind of stuff?
Yeah, he would know kind of like the Sora. Yeah, everything after Sora and Birth by Sleep Trio. Yeah.
Okay, so Lucas thinks for a second. He goes, "Not really. Keyblades, from what I remember, form when someone has the strength in their heart to be able to fend off against the darkness. From what I remember, there were a handful of people who were able to gain that title. And then eventually they started to have apprentices, but the only one that I can think of outside of these of Kingdom Hearts' heroes that were able to wield a Keyblade was, well, actually 3 people, as far as I can remember. But 2 of them were manifestations of the darkness extracted from someone's heart. Don't ask how that works. It's dangerous, and even I don't understand it. But both of them sided with the sorcerer during the time that I was there, and One of them eventually turned against the sorcerer, and the other one, I don't even know where he went off to. That's certainly. But the only other one outside of that fought on the side with the heroes was Crystalina. But unfortunately, she hasn't been able to summon the Keyblade here in Exandria. Following another sort of rule of multiverse is the powers that you gain in one universe won't exactly have the same strength in another. Which somehow Zigbar's also managed to bypass that rule as he able to summon a Keyblade, which he shouldn't even have, and also be able to seems like control all the powers that I've sort of heard him have back in Kingdom Hearts.
Sorry if I'm being a little slow, but what could he do with a Keyblade here, anyways?
I mean, unless he wants to kill his own henchman, the
Here,
Heartless, there wouldn't be no use for it, right?
right, but I as far as fighting anything else, it's impractical. I unless you're fighting someone else who has a Keyblade, but even then, that's in Exandria. It's in here. It should be impractical to have something like that, but something, but it still doesn't make sense. Far as I knew, he never had a Keyblade, much less one with an eye. He had these weird rapid fire crossbow guns of some sort. He was a hell of a marksman too, if I remember correctly.
Hmm. It seems like a lot of these people from that universe have these odd weapons. You said rapid firing crossbow.
Rapid fire crossbow gun of some sort. I don't know. Like I said, I never saw it personally. I never met him personally until the night of Ascension. But somehow he seemed to know everything about who I was.
Perhaps he's got insight on maybe from some of one of the other teammates that you had said that you didn't know much about. Maybe he's giving Zigbar details, or maybe something is keeping him here and he's getting intel from something else, or
It's possible. Like I said, there were two others on the side of the sorcerer that were able to wield keyblades. One, she she turned against the sorcerer in the end, and second one, like I said, he vanished, but I think he was around before then. I don't exactly know what or why, but it's possible.
um, I guess. Do we? He kind of hesitates for a second, and he's just like, "This is probably a dumb question, but uh, do you know any sort of way we can find a way to like find out where he is? He seemed to just disappeared earlier there, but you wouldn't happen to have a lead on him or some sort of way of tracking him down?"
Outside of Kingdom Hearts, I don't think so. I mean, it seemed like no matter what, he has his way of being able to keep an eye on us, or on me at the very least. But it seemed like he wasn't working. Excuse me. It doesn't seem like he was working on his own. He was talking about higher ups, but I don't understand who that could have been. Like I said, the organization was gone by the time I got there.
You see Alora, who has at this point kind of been like quieter. She says, "I'm not sure about this organization specifically, but I do have sort of it's a very outdated way of tracking down a person, because I do have a spell that can locate a person specifically, but it only has a range of about 1,000 feet. So it would be a shot in the dark and casting it every 1,000 feet. Or I could. She takes out these little. Like, just a bag of like orbs, and she says, "These." She takes one out and like sticks it on her arm. Can attach to a person, and if they do, I'm able to sort of track down wherever their location is in real time. If one of us were able to stick this on him without him noticing the next time we see him, and he teleports away, we'll be able to know where he is."
Yeah, but then we'd have to actually be able to get close enough to him. You see, as he says that, he kind of stops and thinks for a sec. No, that won't work.
I mean, I make a mean distraction.
No.
So let's take a shot.
Possible, but even then, would that be able to track him only here in this plane, or is it able to track outside of here?
Sadly, only to this plane of existence. If he goes outside of it, it's completely lost.
Well, hang on, he's gonna kind of think to himself, and he's gonna say, this may also be a shot, kind of a shot, but just in case if he had moved over to the other plane, to, specifically my plane, I can contact my mother, and we can have her be on the lookout in the other plane. I see plane too much. We can have her look out on her side.
That's not a bad idea.
I don't know.
Although, I wonder if he'll. Yeah, I wonder if we'll be able to lure him to
Well, that is
hell.
mostly if
Or anything
he
like-
decides to go there, which he probably won't. But I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have extra eyes, just in case.
That's true. It's true.
Here's my question, though, and this kind of circles out of the whole tracking him thing, but now that you know who we're up against and why, do you have any idea why he would go and recruit Ripley?
Maybe if Ripley is working for, if Ripley is working for Excalibur Prime, and Excalibur Prime is a big thing with Drakion of some sort, or if he's the face behind Excalibur, maybe he might have something to say. But also, I've had this sort of thought lingering throughout the entire conversation since you've told us about this nobody stuff. What if Zigbar and everyone else from that universe, what if they have connections to Tharizdun, or hell, even higher up officials like Lord Drakion, which would kind of explain why Zigbar would want to protect someone like Ripley.
That doesn't really make quite sense, because but then again, there's also the whole time difference thing when traveling. That always annoys the shit out of everyone. But as far as I know, which honestly is not much considering I've only heard of Exandria through the stories that my dad told me when he was here, nothing in Exandria correlates with Organization 13 or Zigbar in relation, in resources, or anything. Nothing correlates until Zigbar did the Heartless attack 20 years ago in Taldore.
Well then, let's why, and I'm just kind of putting this out there as like laying it out on the table. Now, why would he want to go and do that? What benefit do you think you might get out of attacking Whitestone like that?
I don't know. To test his limits within this universe? But like I said, the multiversal law of nature is that everyone's power is limited depending on which world you go to. It's one of the reasons why Kristalina is never at a high power whenever she gets to a world. The powers that you learn in one universe follow a different law of arcane or universal mechanics. So something you learn in one universe won't have as much of a significant impact when you try and do it in, say, this universe because of multiversal law. So that's why you have to learn to adapt to the world that you're in to try and grow that power back or adapt to a new one.
Which would, I mean, which would kind of sort of explain the attack 20 years ago. Maybe he was just trying to get himself acclimated to the environment around here and such. But I also had another theory. What what if he didn't what if he got here in a non-conventional way? What if someone or something brought him here with some sort of protection, allowing him to bypass those laws, that restriction?
That someone would have to be would either have to be able to control the dimensional travel to be able to cross different universes, or possibly be outside of the astral limit of Exandria.
Well, all we have now are questions about specifics. I'd say for Well, number one, thank you, Lucas, for sharing. I still feel really, really terrible about how I forced you to do this, or how I pressured you into doing this. And know that I still do, and I always will feel just. Uh,
Honestly, I probably would have done the same thing if I was younger. Boy, I was a bit of an
the
asshole.
thing that kind of gets me, though, is that I'm usually not like that. When I was back in my world, in my home, down under, I was just your average run of the mill, demon. I just so happened to be placed into a higher power, but even then, I didn't really diminish my character because I had someone on the inside who wasn't really a part of that hierarchy to show me this side of humanity. But I suppose of me going around all of Wildmount helping people, I filled my head up with this sense of self righteousness, and it's cloud it's clouded my judgment and my character.
Yeah, well. All things considered, I think we both kind of got a little overheated. I haven't exactly been the best with, well, for one, controlling my anger, but it seems like for the most part, like I said, the Beowulf thing was something. Actually, ironically enough, the Beowulf transformation thing was something I was born with. It's another long, somewhat sad, complicated story. But let's just say it's the after product of a curse that was bestowed on my father a long time ago.
Well, if you do not, well, that sounds more sort of like that's sort of in relationship to your past, and I don't want to dig deeper than I already have. So, if you wish to withhold that, then I think that it would be best if you do not wish to revisit those times.
Honestly, I appreciate that because I think we've done enough storytelling for today.
Indeed. DM. Oh no, I was just saying what I just sent you a DM. No, I'm just kidding. What time is it?
It is getting a little later into the evening,
7.
like 7.
And how far are we from the volcano?
I will say you are, as far as time goes, would be like a 5-10 minute walk back.
And he kind of gets up and he sort of dusts his pants off. He wiggles his tail a little bit and he says, "Alright, I feel like now would be a good time to go in for a little bit of a rest." Well, during that time when we were all talking, did we all get a short rest? Oh!
I'll allow it.
Alright, so we got a short rest. And he
Let's
says,
go.
"Are you all... How are you all feeling? You all down to rest up a bit.
Honestly, all things considered, I know I probably should, but right now the only thing I can think about is trying to figure out what the fuck our plan is next.
I hate to rush us so quickly after, you know, Lucas had to say all that, but we do only have, what, 6 hours? 8 hours? To do something about this.
6 hours, yeah. And right now, all we've got is half of a vestige and possible locations of where the others might be.
Well, give me a quick second to contact my mother. I can see if we can get eyes on the on that plane. Meanwhile, Alora, um, I think now would be a pretty good time to I guess have that spell ready.
Right. She begins. You call out to Hilera. You see that the screen appears in front of you. You see Hilera picks up. Hey,
Hi,
son, what's up?
Mom. So things have been quite interesting to say the least. But I wanted to ask you a favor, if you wish, if you will. Okay,
All right,
so
what's up?
we've encountered, let's just say, an extraterrestrial being, and we are not certain as to where they could be, and so we thought that we can get your help on looking all around, like, I guess keeping eyes all over where you all are at to sort of see if he pops up. We don't know if he actually will. It's most likely he won't, but just in case if someone does appear there, we would like to know if it were. This person, they had a cloak, and he's sort of blinking on it. He turns to Lucas. um, how did he? I'm blanking on the appearance. Lucas.
Yeah. We're just gonna say for this. Okay, so sorry, I kind of blanked on what you were talking to
Yeah,
Hilaire
he was
about. So
just
kind of
telling
recap
her
me for a
about
quick
how
sec.
he wanted her to keep eyes on all of hell to see if he appears, and so Zelron was about to
Oh,
describe Zigbar to her, but he couldn't find out the appearance. He couldn't remember the appearance of him.
yeah. So we'll just say for the sake. Yeah. So Lucas goes up and is like, um, okay. Well, first off, hi, Miss Hilaire. I'm Jason's kid.
Hey, hey. Oh, you're Jason's kid. No way. Oh, hi.
Oh, technically I'm his second kid, but that's a whole nother thing. Anyway. So yeah, the guy you gotta look out for. First off, one thing that should make it obvious is he's gonna be wearing a long black hooded cloak with like some silver chaining and whatnot. But in case he is ditching that, he's gonna be sort of a older man. He's got the eye patch on one eye, sort of like purplish hair and a ponytail. Um, and is either going to be carrying around. I know this is going to sound stupid. Trust me, I went over this with several people already. But good chance he might be armed with either a giant black and white key with an eye in it, or a couple of weirdly looking rapid fire crossbow guns.
Just one or the other, or both, or is it like a
Honestly, it could be one or the other. It could be both. I have no clue at this point.
Yeah, just
Okay.
keep an eye on
Sure, yeah.
just both for both instances. But if you do see one, that's the person that you're looking for, that we're looking for. But he probably won't appear there. But just in case if Alora can't track him in this plane, he could go there.
Yeah. Anya and I will definitely keep an eye out, and we will let you know pretty
Okay.
quickly if he shows up here.
Thank you. Sorry that all of my calls have only been asking for things, but this time it's more. Something tells me that something is gonna go down, and this is very important.
Gotcha. Understood. All right. Well, be safe. Take care. Okay, and let me know if
Thank
you need
you
anything
again,
else.
Mom, and tell Mom I also said I hope she's doing well.
Will do. Will do. All right.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right.
Hangs up.
And then Lucas kind of looks and is like, actually, now that I think about it, I should probably call my sister. I had her looking into how Zigbar could have gotten here in Exandria, more importantly, gotten here about 20 years ago, but hopefully by now she's got some answers. And I'm gonna grab my little communicator and try and dial up Dawn.
Oh yeah. It rings for a while, and then yeah, you see the screen of Dawn's image, which pops up. Says, "Yo, what's up? How's it going? What's up?"
Hey, look. Okay, first off, is Dad in the room?
No, I don't know where. I don't know actually where he is. He was literally just here a second ago, but nope.
Okay. Have you been able to get anything on that favor I asked?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's complicated. But I think I know how he got there. Do you have a minute?
Well, apparently I've got a little under 6 hours right now, but we'll get into that later. Anyway, what do you got?
Okay, I'll try to make this snappy then. Okay. So, in simplest terms, he traveled there using a gate. So what this means is, you know how you, me, Kristalina could travel to other worlds in our dreams, right?
Well, I mean, for her it was her dreams. For us, it was a little different, but yeah.
Yeah, sort of the same general idea. So Haven Arc is kind of that hub world for people who are able to do that. So one might argue that dreams in and of itself is its own world, right? Similarly, it's the same thing for death. Death is kind of its own world as well. And some people say that they see kind of lost loved ones in their dreams sometimes. That's because sometimes people cross over from that world of death to the world of dreams. It's a thin line. And so these two worlds are pretty closely related, and there's a line that separates these two. This place is called, what is it? Right, the final world. And so if a person's able to travel there, if a person is able to travel there, they're able to open gates to pretty much anywhere, which means if a person's strong enough to travel to the final world, they are pretty much able to come to Haven Arc, come to Real Earth, come to wherever you're at, which is, they've started calling it E546. So yeah, he traveled to this place, Final World, and it wasn't just him. Apparently, he took a legion of like those shadowy creatures you mentioned. So it's not an infinite amount. But in any case, Oh, and the way I found out about it, I talked to this I forget her name, but it was a brown-haired girl. She was like looking for her friend. And well, anyways, so she told me about it.
So, how did this guy get to the final world?
Apparently, you do need if you're not able to. Well, the most traditional way is breaking a law of nature or breaking some sort of law of magic or something like this. The universe jaunts you there as kind of like a no 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 don't do that. Um, but some people have kind of an external person that's able to teleport them there. Um, so it seems like that's what happened. It's Zigbar didn't find the final world on his own. Someone else took him there, and from there he leaped to E546.
Wait, do we all hear this? Or is it, or is this in private with him?
At this, yeah, I'd say at this point, yeah, y'all can hear it. I pretty much
And
have
he
her on
says,
speakerphone.
and thus allowing Zigbar to bypass the restrictions that physics and the world puts everybody in when you travel.
I guess so.
Well,
Essentially.
now we need to figure out who is trying to do this.
Yeah, you got any idea on that, sis?
I have no clue, honestly. Well, I mean, this is unrelated, probably, but so. Well, first of all, when he traveled to the final world, it seemed like it was kind of against his will. Someone else took him there. But before he was taken there, he was working with these people from a long, long time ago. Like, and she flips through like a page on a book and says, "Animal masks of some kind. I don't know." But it seems like he had some sort of plan didn't involve that didn't involve going to Exandria, and then he was taken.
Animal masks. And this was back over in Kingdom Hearts?
Apparently, it also mentions two things: a book and a box. No one knows what's inside this black box, but he used to take it away, around with him everywhere he went. And then he went to the final world, didn't have it with him. There's also a book that mentions something that's like fate is written inside and XYZ. I don't know. Foretells the
book that
future.
records what happens?
Kind of. It's supposedly it's supposed to be like from a person long ago who like looked into the future and like wrote it down. It doesn't actually
Look
describe
into
it
the
very
future.
well.
How would someone even have that ability?
Hell if I know.
Every world and every universe has some form of divination magic. Out of character, and because I said that Lucas suffers from memory lapses, would Lucas know exactly what Dawn's talking about with the people with the animal masks?
Roll me a history check. DC 10.
Yay.
Oh, come, what?
5.
You have no idea.
Well, Lucas kind of shrugs and is like, yeah, no, I don't know anything about these other people that Zigbar was working with or anything about this frickin' book and box. You said it was the box that he always carried around with him, a black one, yeah?
Yeah, it was like important to him. No one knew what was inside though.
Okay, so then Lucas kind of nods and is like, good, so it's not that one.
Dawn says, well, hope that answers most of your questions. I will try to find more and then, let you know what I do find, but that's pretty much everything.
That definitely answers a bunch of questions. Now here's an even bigger one. How the hell does he know about me or travelers to begin with?
I don't know. It seems like, because there's that whole thing, right? When you, Christina, and I would go to like a specific world, usually no one would know about Haven Arc because there's that rule of like no one's supposed to know. It's supposed to be a secret. But how did you get that information?
I can at least think of one person, but as far as I know, she hasn't caused any trouble since our first adventure with Crystalina and Howler. Ugh.
You don't think that?
No.
No.
As far as I know, she hasn't been able to travel anywhere ever since, nor any of her lackeys.
Oh,
Which I'm honestly thankful for, because that bitch was crazy.
thank God for that. Well, okay. Well, that's pretty much everything. In case you need anything else, don't fucking call me, and I will see you soon.
Yeah, just try and figure out how the hell this guy actually knows me 100% or anything else in that category.
All right. I'll let you know.
And as always, don't tell Dad.
I won't.
She's like, get the fuck
definitely.
out of my
And
face.
she
You made
hangs
me
up.
sick. Huh.
Lucas puts away the communicator and is like, well, that answers some of our questions. Now we
Now we
how
know
got
that he
here."
can only transport. Well, hang on. Alora, would you mind answering me? This is gonna kind of double down on that spell of yours. Would that? Okay, so you say it only does, track. It only tracks people within the plane, the mortal plane. But does the spell work? Say if you are in a separate plane, does it just show you who's in the mortal plane, or does it show you the tracking location of the person that in the same plane that you are in? Does it only do the same plane that we're in, or is it like always just mortal?
So, oh, that's actually a good point. Yes. If we were to travel somehow to another plane of existence, then it would show that plane. If that person, basically what you're saying is correct. If that person's on the same plane of existence, then we see
Okay.
that.
Right. And unless any of the other vestiges are in any other plane of location, then honestly, I don't think we're going to be going anywhere else aside from here anytime soon because, like Dawn was saying, I cannot take you guys to Haven Arc. There's a bunch of regulations against it.
Well, until we have some sort of I guess until we have a definitive way of tracking down Zigbar, I'd suppose do we carry on our search for the vestiges? Do we complete this one, or do you want to?
Do you think there's any way that we could attract his attention? Bring him to us?
The only thing he really wants is Crystalina, so long as she's with us, he's bound to be able to get towards us. But we can't really set foot in Wildmount anymore because now he's put up that bounty on us.
I guess that's true.
You see that Alora, her eyes kind of go white for a second as she receives a message. And she says, apparently, damn, and Taldore as well. Like
What?
I just got a message from one of my friends, my contacts in Taldore. Gilmore? Yeah. he just informed me that there are posters all over Taldore as well, with all of our faces on it. So it seems like really everyone's trying to keep their eyes out for us.
What are they even claiming you did? I can't remember.
In Wildmount, they're saying that me and Crystalina issued death threats to King Dwendal.
You see Alora casts sending to Gilmore, and
Gilmore!
You see, she says, "Oh, okay. Strange. One of the nobles traveled to Taldore in search of something, and apparently ended up injured. And when asked sort of who was responsible, she described all of us. Even though we had nothing to do with it, they just sort of took her side. And
which noble? The only one we met were two in Whitestone.
Not entirely sure. I think it might have been. Do you remember when we were in Rexentrum and you and Crystalina had gone off to meet the king and queen?
Yeah.
There's a chance that it's that queen you met in the castle, but it's not definitive. Just a shot in the dark, I suppose.
How injured was she?
She casts another sending, and you see she says, "Not fatal. She will recover within a week, but she'll have to stay in Taldore and be away from her own kingdom for a short time." Well, I don't, we have a part of a vestige, and we have bounties on our heads everywhere, and people looking out for us.
Alora, sorry to interrupt, but this might be an important question. Is there anyone in Taldore or Wildmount? With everything I've told you, it's a possibility that with this break in nature, there's a good chance that some of the laws within Kingdom Hearts may be transferred here in Exandria. If that's the case, can you think of anyone who has possibly had a vast amount of darkness in their heart?
Well, there was the only possible person I can think of here is, I mean, do you want to know like modern times or like historical?
Anyone that might be alive today.
Might be alive today. Okay, so there was an archmage by the name of Vespin Chloris. To my knowledge, he tried to re-perform what the Raven Queen did, ascend to godhood, because he wanted revenge on the people who hurt him and his family. So I suppose that darkness could have grown inside of him. There was rumors that he lived again somehow, but definitively he lived a long, long time ago. Apparently he'd been resurrected. The only other person I could think of was a man named Essek.
Can Zelron kind of like, he's gonna kind of just like ease into this sort of completion. He's just gonna say, Thalis?
Yeah, famous. Are you familiar?
I've only ever heard from my mother and her sort of encounters or encounter. I don't know much. Well, really anything. I just know of the name.
Well, so a long time ago, Wildmount was sort of in a civil war, and there were these artifacts that essentially allowed the Kryn dynasty to hold an advantage for a long time. Essek basically handed them over to the other side. He was manipulated into doing so, but he always felt guilty about doing that. And there was darkness that grew in his heart. I always sort of tried to comfort him about this, but I mean, what more can you really do sometimes? But that's the only two people I know.
That currently or may have had darkness in their hearts. Are you sure?
Hell, you sure that
Absolutely sure.
Drakeon didn't have any darkness, considering he the coward he seems to be, and what with him having
I mean,
Exandria
yes,
Prime.
Like I said,
that's true.
like I said, in this other world, the rule was that everyone had darkness in their hearts. Like I said, some of it was minor, some like a little bit, and then for some others it was like their entire heart was darkness with barely any light. If that rule from there is somehow leaking to here, Zigbar might have a way to create more Heartless that are native to Exandria.
Oh, that's horrible. How is this even possible? I mean,
Like I said, each universe has their own different laws of magic, and with the possibility of someone somehow pulling Zigbar out of Kingdom Hearts here into Exandria, there's no imagining what may happen, and the possibility and the realization that he has gained close to his full strength when just arriving here breaks even more the laws of the multiverse, which means it could be possible that that breach could cause the two different universes to have possibly intermixed rules to the point where the rules of Exandria might apply there and the rules over there might apply here.
I never realized that is a possibility. Sort of causing an incursion.
Exactly. Which means if the two people, or if the people that you said are still alive to this day, then they are probably going to be on Zigbar's hit list.
Right.
Which means we can catch up with them first.
We know where they are. I didn't think anything like this would happen, and especially when we were in Whitestone, and I told Percy to be cautious because they don't have the weapons to deal with this kind of thing, and the idea that they would possibly have to deal with Heartless that are going to be from the native hearts of Exandria, I don't know what could happen.
You see that Alora says, alright, well, we should decide on a next course of action, right? 6 hours remain until Zigbar wants his answer on if you'll help him or not. Essek and Vespin are on Zigbar's hit list. I do have a location for both. Essek is in Wild Mounts, where all of us have a bounty on our heads, but he's close with the Bright Queen, which is an old friend of mine, and she should be able to let us in sneakily and not execute us. Vespin, where he was resurrected is certainly unsure, but he is somewhere in Marquette.
Well, hopefully that's a place where we don't have posters.
Well, with the Bright Queen, considering that we, well, not all, but like most of us here, we are the children of people who helped save Wildmount. Surely, and because I surely the Bright Queen and Jason, Helera, and Crystalina, and everybody else, they were allies once, or probably still allies, so that could be a nice, way to get there, but we would need to kind of drop in instead of like traveling across the continent, because if we're going to be wanted, then it's not going to be safe for us to just, travel through the continent.
Do we know of any possible vestiges that were in Wildmount?
In Wildmounts, I believe 2 were definitely in Wildmounts. The Bright Queen holds 1 though, so if we were to travel there, we could sort of hit 2 birds with 1 stone.
That would definitely make things easier. What about the second one?
The second one is in one of the 1 second here, actually. I gotta pull up my own notes. Holy shit.
DM Stone.
We've got him.
So, she says it's in one of the old, almost completely burned down libraries in Port de Mali. It's sort of close to Port Zoom.
Zelran looks to Fen. He's like, "Hey, well, that's a way you can help us get in there."
Oh boy.
Was that like a sarcastic?
Lou's gonna kick you out if he hears this.
Yeah. So you see that. Yeah, go ahead.
Lucas is just gonna look to Fen, and Zelron's like,
Well,
"You guys have
he
connections in Port
does.
Zoom?"
Well, yeah, he does. Considering his father is, Crestus.
Are you gonna say the word? There you go.
Yeah, you guys gotta remember, my dad kind of was in the late end of whatever adventure your parents were fucking around with, so kind of penny to the guy who has no idea what's...
Fair.
100% of
But
what's
yes,
going on
Port
here?
Zoom was sort of a... Port Zoom is a place where, is safe for us. Considering that Fen's father is the ruler there. And also that could add to the protection that we get with the Bright Queen, considering, if I remember correctly, I'm just going based off of Mother's tellings, teaching or stories, but I think there was a connection between the two with King Crestus and the Bright Queen. They had a little bit of a thing going on, so yeah, that could also help us out.
Well, sounds like either way, we gotta drag Fen along.
And he just he looks to Fen. He's just like, oh.
Lou, don't kill me.
Yeah, Lucas just kind of shrugs and is like, got no connections out here. When I came to Exandria, I was stuck. I kind of stuck myself in isolation asylum. Alora can back me up on that. I barely left the tower.
Yeah. Right. Uh, well, shall we? Bright Queen's castle, or try to reforge this sword, or
Well, if
maybe head
the
to
blade of the sword is,
Halloween.
depending on how long you think it would take to get this blade. I mean, we are in the same place as the blade. Am I correct?
No, we're in so out of character. It's we're so Pyrrha is in Isilra, which is another continent.
Oh,
The
okay. I
sword
don't know
blade is
why
in
I thought we
Tal'Dorei.
were, because I never really saw the map for, you know.
Carlo, yeah, no.
Uh,
So Carlo like last session we had, Carlo originally said that Pyrrha was in Tal'Dorei. But then I kind of corrected him by saying that it wasn't in Tal'Dorei. Zephyra and I believe Hera are the
Okay.
two Ashari tribes that are in Tal'Dorei. And then Veshra, it's somewhere in the fucking ocean.
All right. Well, yeah. Now that kind of that helps me
And
out.
then yeah, yeah, and then like I said, Pyrrha is in Asira, which is not that far from the city of oh god, what the fuck is that religion city called? I just heard it earlier today. Uh, fuck, Vasselheim.
Vasselheim.
And yeah, it's not that far. So Pyrrha's not that far from Vasselheim, which is oldest city in Exandria, major religion area. This is okay. This is Daniel talking. This isn't Lucas. I'm just saying that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vasselheim is oldest city in the world, home to a bunch of the major locations for deity worships, for almost all the gods in Exandria, save for the betrayer gods and the undying king. I think.
There's a lot of lore here.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of lore in this world.
Yeah, that actually quite helped because now I can have a visual, like, well, not visual. I can now. Yeah. Okay. So now, I guess Tal'Dorei is out of the question. We can't reforge the sword. Um, at least not right now.
I mean, we have some connections in Tal'Dorei. I mean, Alora, Zarin, you guys said that you guys know the voice of the Tempest chick, Kesara or something like that.
No, that's
Elith, I think.
isn't
I
that
am
the
terrible
woman?
with
That's the
names,
woman
so
that
yeah, probably
that
her.
I was about to say Hilaire. That's the woman that my mother told us about when we took down that giant beast in Zadash.
Yeah. So we've got her. We've got Lord and Lady Derolo. So we have some allies within Tal'Dorei that might be able to back us up.
We can always disguise ourselves if we're in public spaces.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess that always works. So either way, we could hit up any of these three areas between Tal'Dorei, Wildmount, and Marquette. Question is, do we want to go after a full and go after what we assume is going to be a full vestige, or do we want to have to work to get the Dragon Blade
Each
back up
has
and
its
running?
perks. Well, both options have its perks. One, we get a chance to get the drop on Zigbar, and get a vestige in the process. But if we go to Tal'Dorei, we complete the blade, and that could be a quite the boon for us in getting Zigbar. So I can go either way, but it really all depends on how long it would take to find the blade, and if it takes any longer than a few hours, then that we can't afford to go after that at the moment. But then again, we never really know when Zigbar is going to strike.
I mean, to be fair, we don't know the exact locations of any of these vestiges, save for the one that apparently the Bright Queen has, and all we know about the Blade of the Sword is that it's apparently somewhere in the highest peak or
Nothing
highest
that an
mountain of
airship couldn't
Taldore.
fix.
So unless you guys... Didn't our parents have an airship back in the day?
If I recall correctly.
You see, Alora nods and says, "Yes, we do. It hasn't been used in a while, but yeah,
Maybe 20
absolutely.
years?
Surprised it hasn't disintegrated from all the shit that's probably piled up on it.
Yeah, I probably am going to have to clean the interior before we use it, but you know.
Oh, either way. Lucas is gonna turn over to Mona and is like, what do you think?
I think that completing the sword to just meet Zigbar with violence isn't the best idea. I mean, he's got a lot of connections, clearly, so even if you could manage to take him down somehow, we're still all gonna have issues.
Right. So I guess that kind of pulls Taldore out for now. So, that leaves Wildmount or Marquette. Honestly, I don't really care between the two. I'm just thankful that hopefully Marquette...
And hell, even then, there you know, some caveats, because isn't Marquette quite far? Well, I guess it can't be farther than Wildmount. But
I mean, to be fair, we've been jumping between three different
honestly
countries for the
is
last few days.
How we did that is beyond me. But would we have any allies in Marquette? Yeah, I know we wouldn't really need them, but like, would we have anywhere to go to sort of just for succor?
Not that I know of, but like I said, I've been in an asylum for several months.
DM question.
Yeah.
Would any of the Dwindle family have a good connection to somebody in Marquette?
Oh
shit.
Interesting. I gotta pull up some notes really quickly, because hold up.
Shit.
If this ends up being a yes, I hope we get to meet someone that I think is in... Actually, there's several people.
We get to meet fresh cut grass. And see some ass.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot.
What?
Hell's is in
Hell's
Marquette.
Bells?
What am I missing?
Oh.
No,
but
Bell's
fresh cut
Hell's.
grass. Ah.
It was part of Bell's Hells.
Damn, where did I put it? The answer is yes, but I am not. I do not have the name. I will get it to you at a later time.
Are you talking about the noble that runs Marquette?
No.
Damn it! Are you talking about one of the possible crime bosses that has been talked about in Vox Machina?
Are you trying to fish out this answer for me because you're not?
Yes. I'm trying to help here. I've been listening to Vox Machina for a couple of years now straight. So a lot of the stuff is still fresh in my head.
You're just gonna go through every single NPC in Marquette.
Okay, one of them is not technically an NPC.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Though, I mean, it honestly depends. That honestly depends, because, like, it gets complicated. So...
I'm not surprised.
No, so basically I was trying to see if it's either Shaman Saord or the Meat Man.
The Meat Man.
I'm sorry, what? It's okay, guys. I have connection to the meat man. Oh my god.
Do I need to run another lore drop here?
No,
Just
I'd
I think
rather have
Allura
that
is
as
enough
just
lore
no context.
for us, but
Okay.
Oh,
I will
wow.
I will say one thing.
fucking god.
The meat man involves Scanlan.
Of course it does.
Would that also?
Oh,
I'm
it's
guessing. So I'm guessing it's a no to either.
Yeah, nope.
Meat man.
Fuck, that would have been awesome.
Sounds like my kind of. Anyway,
oh yeah,
Anyway,
in
you found your
character.
notes yet, Carlo?
Wait, hold on.
Oh.
Chrome is not
Oh.
responding. This is so sad.
Be
All
prepared
right.
for Carlo's net to drop.
Yeah.
Anyway, so short answer is basically yes.
Short answer is yes. I will get the name to you at a later time.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, you see that Allura looks around and says, "Right. Well, I mean, Marquette is sort of the safest option. We're not wanted, and I mean, I guess we don't know anybody there, but it's better than being haunted."
I might be able to get a connection in Marquette, but it's, it's a last option.
Honestly, I do still want to punch something, but Laura's right. Marquette would be our safest option.
I guess Marquette it is.
All right. All right. I can find us a teleportation circle, and it'll take us to one of the various cities within Marquette.
Oh, I just
everyone
had
all right with
one other variable here. How do we know exactly which one he's going to go after first? Like, what if we are in Marquette Hell or even in Wildmount, and he manages to go after the other one on the other side of the world? Like, do we have a definitive like?
What?
Oh. I'm not sure. Oh, that's a good question. I might be able to send one of my contacts over to where I know Essek is, and have him send a message if he is there.
Like I said, it's no guarantee that Zigbar would be going after these two, but if they're the ones that have had a mass amount of darkness in their hearts, whether currently or in the past, then they would be his most likely targets if he's trying to fuck around with multiversal nature again.
That's true. Well, I mean, I suppose if we're worried about the other one, if we're worried about Essek being persuaded by Zigbar, we can make it sort of a short trip. And if Zigbar isn't with the person in Marquette, then we can check on Essek.
Or we could all split up. And he kind of says this. You can tell he says this is kind of like a, I guess like not really an icebreaker, but more of like a way to break the tension with like some funny. He says, or we could split up, and half of us go to Wildmount and half of us go to Marquette.
That is a terrible idea because only one of us knows how to teleport.
Yeah,
and it
I know.
ain't any of us except for Laura.
Sonic. What the hell?
She pats your shoulder. Very well tried, dear. All right. So,
Marquette.
Marquette, everybody.
Marquette.
Seems like the plan.
Let's do it. So you guys head to a teleportation circle, and you see that Alora invites you all and taps her staff. You see that before this, however, she gets a sending from one of her contacts in Taldore. And she says, "Strange. Okay. Um,
What happened?
do you all remember anything weird happening in Whitestone?"
Not that I can recall.
No.
I thought I did.
I mean, aside from the Excalibur drones and Zelrin trying to pry answers out of me, that was the only weird
And the
thing
mirror, which was,
there.
I guess,
But
another
no.
odd thing, but. Oh! He lifts the
what?
pen, and he's just like, yeah, long story short, Fen found a table mirror, like a hand mirror. What do you call those things that you get? A little hand. Yeah, yeah. It was a hand
Yeah, it
mirror,
was a
and
hand
Can-
mirror. Yeah.
it kind of made his reflection a little wonky, and so he tossed it, and yeah, he has it with him. But yeah, that is weird, but I don't think that has anything to do with that.
Oh yeah, no.
See, Alora says, "Yeah, I thought our visit was pretty normal as well. Apparently, I just received a message from Vexalia. It was scalding, like she was angry at me for something. I don't know why, but she was out of breath and she was yelling at me about something. I'm not."
What'd she say?
She said, she said we invited those things there. She said we caused something, and that's why I'm trying to remember. Like, Whitestone was pretty normal, I felt like, but I don't know.
Wait. Invited us. What things? Did she describe anything?
Alora speaks into the air, casting sending, and she says, "Lucas, I think you were right. I think it's as you feared. Whitestone is under siege right now."
By Heartless?
Apparently, she said 2-foot tall, shadowy creatures with yellow eyes.
Shit. It's not going for big guns yet, then.
You see that she says, "Should we aid
Well,
them
if there's
first, or
Heartless
should
there,
we
then that
still
must mean that
go to
Sigmar
Marquette?"
must be there as well.
Or at least he's nearby. Alora, this is very important. And I know I kind of pressured into this question multiple times already, but to the best of your knowledge, has either Vexalia or Percy had darkness in their hearts in any circumstance? Whether it was past, current, it doesn't matter. Did they?
Well, Percy did, but he dealt with it a long time ago.
What happened?
It wasn't the nature of his heart. He was possessed. A demon followed him, but I suppose a resentment could have grown in his heart.
What were the circumstances of this demon showing up? Do you know?
1 second.
It just keeps getting juicier and juicier.
I can lore dump for you if you would like. I am probably your fastest source of information right now.
I definitely remember all the Critical Role lore and okay.
The early Vox Machina.
I'm not looking at the Wikipedia, and you see she says,
I'm your Wikipedia, dude. At least for Vox Machina.
so she says, right, well, a long time ago, there was a demon that basically helped Percy strike back against the people that took his home, and basically would give him inspiration for the design of his firearms.
Destruction of his home.
A long, long time ago, the Lord and Lady Briarwood took over Whitestone, and Percy and the rest of his family were booted out. A demon came in and offered him a way to take his castle back, and I suppose he sort of worked with it.
How devoted was he to working with his demon during this time?
I wasn't mostly with him, it was the rest of his friends, but from what they tell me, he was pretty devoted. He would get angry when others would suggest other ideas, but that was a long time ago.
What about Vexalia?
To my knowledge, no. I mean, it's possible, but darling, I don't think what you're suggesting is in the realm of possibility. No. I don't reckon that Zigbar... No, it would just be too big of a gambit.
He's been in Exandria for 20 years, Allura. He knows more about it than I do. And if what you're saying is true, whether it was a long time ago or not, there could still be a possibility of a fragment of that still within Percy. And even if that was the case, or even if anything happens, Zigbar can still possibly use that.
I know. Alright. And Whitestone? And
Whitestone.
we'll try and figure out what's going on?
Whitestone.
Right. The teleportation circle flashes red, and we're gonna end tonight right there.
Oh!
Wow,
Oh,
wait. I love exposition.
Holy shit.
This was a good. Yeah. I like how we.
Damn,
I like
you
these
got
episodes where we're all just sitting there talking and like we're putting pieces together. Like the first episode that we did, where were like, oh, well, "You're Spider-Man pointing me."
And I probably gave you a few ideas with all this connect the dots, now that I think about it.
No, don't be. Anyways, thank you.
Subscribe to
for watching,
Tenchi Art
and
or I'll
thank
kill
Angel
you.
for handling the stream once again. Yeah, do it. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody at home, and we will see
Bye,
you
streamers
next week.
and
Very
cravers.
well.